Well, hello, I'm Daniel Widmar, and I'm here with Kristi, my wife. We're owners of Rasmussen Diamonds, and we have a bunch of Q&A questions submitted by you, our guests, that we're going to go over today, and hopefully enlighten you and have a good time in the process.
That's right.
How often should I get my ring cleaned?
That's a good question. We do get that one a lot. I would say, personally, what I usually tell people is if you can get into the habit, do it twice a year. We can do it more often, but you don't want to do it too frequently if it's gold, because every time you buff gold, you do take a small amount away. So what I always tell people is if you want to put a mental reminder that every time you change your clocks, you should also come in and get your jewelry cleaned, then you know you're going to have it done twice a year, and that's usually a pretty good amount of time in between for us to catch anything that might need to be fixed. So.
Good job.
Thanks.
More jewelry questions, if you can believe it. Can you do engraving in jewelry?
Yes. So we have an engraver here that you can set it up and it will engrave the inside of the ring. But we don't have anything beyond that. So, some people sometimes will ask, maybe they might have a medallion or a locket or the back of a watch, but we don't have the equipment to set it up properly to engrave. So we usually will recommend that you go to the trophy shop down the street, and sometimes we've been able to do what's necessary, like removing the back of a watch so that they can just take that part and engrave it. So that's up. But if you need the inside of a ring engraved, most of the times we can do it as long as the ring is thick enough.
Yeah. These are not in any particular order, of course. Do you buy gold?
Probably our number one most asked question.
Well, yes or no?
Yes, we do buy gold. But I have to say...
For $1 million?
No, not for that much. Well, here's the thing. Everybody, thinks that there's a lot of money in selling your used gold. And you can get a good amount for it, but there are a couple factors that come into play. One is that if the piece is 14 karat gold, that means that it's been alloyed. So 14 karat gold is about 58% pure gold, the rest is alloys.
58.3.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The rest is alloys, and in order for that gold to actually be reused, the gold has to be melted down, the alloys separated, and then it has to be re-refined so that it's cleaner so that it can be cast properly. If somebody were to actually take already alloyed gold and melt it down and then try to cast it again, that piece of jewelry becomes very brittle and you get a lot of porosity. And porosity basically is like air bubbles when they melt down the gold and they pour it into a mold. So an air bubble essentially is a void in metal. If you have porosity in, say, prongs that are holding diamonds, once that gold wears away to that porosity, it's a void in metal and there's no metal holding diamonds. So it's just not good to do that after it's already been alloyed. It's not usually a good piece of jewelry and not recommended.
So unfortunately, we're mostly buying the gold for scrap value because that's
Correct.
what the refiners want.
Yep.
Interesting fact that it actually costs more for the refiners to buy it from us than to mine it in the ground, but they feel as if there's a finite amount of gold, so they want to get as much of it as they can. If they don't want to scrap their jewelry, do we have another option for them to
We sometimes
sell?
can. Sometimes we will buy diamonds. The side diamonds on rings, in many cases when they're smaller diamonds, it costs us more to pay our goldsmith to remove those diamonds than what that resale value is of those, unfortunately. So again, you get scrap value. The bigger diamonds we sometimes will buy, not always. We do not resell. We don't have an estate market here, but we do have many other places that in some cases, if they are of significant value or they may be something that's kind of rare, we would see if we could potentially broker it for you. Sometimes we've had success and sometimes we haven't. Many people have had success just going online or finding a friend or family that's interested in buying. Kind of a good rule of thumb is if you're going to try to sell the piece of jewelry as is and it's in good condition, a good asking price is somewhere around a third of that retail replacement value. It's not going to mean that you're going to get that, but that's a good starting place.
That's a tough one. When you spend $1 gazillion and you get a fraction of that price back.
But you have to figure when you're when we're buying it, I'm buying the manufacturing of that piece of jewelry. I'm buying, everything is brand new. So then when you're going on to a separate market, everything changes. All the rules change. So we do buy gold. Best thing is if you got a jewelry box full of broken chains and one earring where you're missing the other and, clasps or maybe miscellaneous earring backs, things like that, you might actually be able to find some good money in some of those things. So you're welcome to bring it in. We always recommend that you just call us ahead of time to make sure that one of our gold buyers is here.
Do you offer financing today?
Yes, we do. We have a financing done through the American Gem Society, backed by Wells Fargo Bank, and one of the things that we offer most frequently is 12 months interest-free financing, which is very easy to apply for, and you can utilize it towards any of your purchases. You don't have to put anything down. If you're approved for the full amount, you can finance the full amount. You can choose to do however much you want. So if you want to put down, a small percentage and pay the rest on financing, however you want to do it, we're pretty flexible that way.
All right, do you have a gift registry or wish list?
Yes, we do.
We do?
Yes, we have a wish list. Just come and take a look. We can't always promise you're going to get it, but we can certainly put it on your wish list. One of my dad's favorite stories is a guest that had been coming in for a long time. His wife used to come in before Christmas and get a feel for what was new. We'd put a bunch of things on our wish list, and he was watching a Packer game with his buddies and said at halftime, "I'll be right back. I'm doing my Christmas shopping." And they all kind of laughed at him like, "All right, well, we'll see you next time." And he's like, no, I'll be back before halftime. So he came in. He said, "What's on our wish list?" And we showed him what was there. He said, "All right, I'll take that one." We gift wrapped it, and he was out the door and back home by his friends to watch the rest of the Packer game. So very, very easy. We make it super easy. And yeah, you can put whatever you want on that wish list. Like I said, we can't promise you're going to get it, but we can always keep wishing.
What is the normal turnaround time on a repair?
10 days to 2 weeks at this time. We do have very good goldsmiths, but we take in quite a few repairs, and we want to make sure that they have the proper amount of time to do it. Plus, it does go through a couple of hands for quality control afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So,
do you resize rings?
the short answer, yes. But bring it to us. Let us take a look at it. There are some limitations to sizing rings. When you go beyond its limitations, there is the possibility that there can be cracking, and stones can come loose on a very regular basis if it's done beyond the amount of sizes that it should be sized. Also, if the shank or the bottom part of the ring is too thin, we always recommend a half shank, because if it's under a millimeter, they try to cut it, add solder. You're always going to have a weak spot that under a millimeter it's almost a matter of when it's going to break, not if it's going to break. So we recommend getting a half shank if the ring has been worn or it's an heirloom piece. These are just the ways that we can keep your ring lasting a lot longer. So short answer is yes, we can size your ring for you. Just bring it in and let us take a look at it.
Nice. Let's see, we got, how do you clean jewelry from home? You recommended having your jewelry professionally cleaned by us twice a year, but what about at home?
Yes, so there isn't a really great way to polish gold, but we do have polishing cloths that you can come in for purchase. We do have what's called a diamond dazzle stick, which is kind of a great thing that you can throw in your purse. That looks almost like a lipstick tube, and then you can just use that with jewelry cleaner. But at home, probably one of the safest things to do is just take Mr. Clean, diluted half and half with water, a soft toothbrush, and you can scrub the diamonds. You can scrub underneath the stones. We don't recommend you doing anything too vigorous with that, because if there are loose diamonds, then obviously you could potentially pop something out. So before we ever professionally clean anything, we always make sure that everything is in good shape. No loose stones, no prongs are worn, and anything else that we might need to take note of. But at home, easiest thing is take Mr. Clean and water. There you go.
All right, so how do I go about setting up an appraisal?
So we do different types of appraisals. The most common one is going to be your insurance replacement appraisal. And that would be something that you would submit to your insurance company. and it would have the current replacement cost of that piece of jewelry on today's market. And Katrina is a certified gemologist appraiser, and she does all of our appraisals right now with the assistance of Bill, my dad, who is semi-retired, but he's also a certified gemologist appraiser. The jewelry insurance is something you would just call ahead of time, speak with Trina on what is the best needs that you have for that insurance appraisal or appraisal. We do fair market value appraisals. We also do cash liquidation value appraisals as well. So give Trina a call. She will set up an appointment. We ask that you set up an appointment rather than come in.
Okay, so we got another question for you. Do you charge for jewelry cleanings?
Not usually, no. You can come in and have it cleaned, checked and cleaned while you wait. However, if you wanted something more than that, like a full refinishing or rhodium plating, those are things that we would take in and charge for. But just a regular check and clean takes a couple of minutes, and you can shop while you're here.
Perfect, because the next question is, what is rhodium?
Rhodium is a part of the platinum group metals. It is a very white metal. It's hypoallergenic and anti-corrosive, and it is mostly used in the automotive industry for catalytic converters. However, we use rhodium as a plating over white gold regularly. So gold comes out of the earth yellow and bright yellow. In order for us to make white gold, you actually have to alloy that bright yellow metal with white alloys. In many cases, those alloys are going to be nickel. Sometimes they use other things like cobalt or iridium, sometimes even platinum. But rhodium is the final finish, because once you alloy that, and let's say it's 14 karat gold, 58% of that is still a yellow metal, so it still has a yellowish tint to it. In order to make it look that crisp, white, really shiny, bright look, you actually put a plating of rhodium over the top. Rhodium can be worn down over time, and some people will use the term that I need to get my jewelry re-dipped. Basically what that means is that they're going to be having it re-rhodium plated. It is done in a chemical solution with a piece of rhodium, an electrical current that actually takes molecules of that rhodium to adhere to your ring. We do need to take it in order for that to be done, because the ring has to be fully refinished before it is able to take a good rhodium plating. But rhodium is hypoallergenic, so you shouldn't have any issues if you have any nickel allergies, if your ring is nicely rhodium plated.
What is the difference between costume and fine jewelry?
Well, that's an interesting, there have been very, very nice costume jewelry that's been out there. Obviously, more of the antique stuff was done really well, like the craftsmanship was quite nice. But nowadays, a lot of the costume jewelry really is just going to be some type of a base metal. In many cases, it's nickel, so in many cases, so many people have an aversion to nickel. And, so you'll have problems with it causing your skin to turn different colors. And then in most cases, it's synthetic stones, not even lab-created stones. We're talking about cubic zirconias or just synthetic glass. But there is definitely a place for costume jewelry, just as there's a place for fine jewelry. Generally fine jewelry is purchased because people are looking for something that signifies a very significant moment in your life. And that's when you want something that's going to be an heirloom piece. It's going to last for generations. Costume jewelry doesn't do that, but sometimes it's really fun to have some really awesome jewelry that you maybe wouldn't have been able to afford in other cases. So,
yeah. Okay, this is a big one. We talk about this all the time. People don't understand why they should, but should I take my wedding ring off?
Oh, that's a great question. Yes.
But I spent all this money on it.
Yes. I completely understand that. When you buy something that's really special and significant, and you think, this is something I want to wear all the time, I get it. But it is still a precious metal. It still is gemstones that have limitations. And metals wear down. No matter what metal you have, over time, metal will wear down. Gold is a soft metal. And so even things like just the synthetic fibers from our sheets. So when you're sleeping, take a very small microscopic amount of gold away over the years. So the years and years of wearing will wear down your prongs, they'll wear down the back of your ring, and it will need work over time. So one of the things I always recommend, and I do, is as soon as I get home, my jewelry comes off. It doesn't need that abuse. And when I get home, we have 4 kids. I put my mom hat on, I'm washing dishes, I'm doing laundry, I'm, just the stuff you do around your house. And I don't need my jewelry on at that time, so I have a very safe place that I put my jewelry. And it's always been able to stay in good condition. So I always say, if you buy a really nice dress or a really nice suit, that's not something you're going to wear every day, all the time around the house. Treat your jewelry the same way as you might with some other item that you might have of significant value.
Very nice. Okay, the grand finale of questions here. What is the difference between carat with a C and carat with a K?
Okay, simple enough. Carat with a C is a unit of weight. It is equal to 1/5 of a gram, and it is what we use to weigh diamonds and other colored gemstones. It got its name from the carob bean, which is a seed similar to a coffee bean, and it had very uniform shape and weight, and they used to put it on their balance scales, and if it balanced out to the diamond, it was 1 carat. Carat with a K is a unit of purity, so 24 carat with a K is pure gold, 14 carat with a K is 58.3 pure gold, and the rest alloys. So there's carat with a K and carat with a C. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you got some of your questions answered, and obviously if you have any more, please feel free to give us a call or stop in. Thank you.